Iowa returns 16 starters from last season, including 7 on offense and 8 on defense. After a few opening remarks, we'll take questions.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. I'm sure like every coach that's been up here, we're certainly eager to get started here on Sunday, and this has been a really good football team to work with since back in January. I think they've done a nice job handling each step along the way, but certainly eager to get on the field and just see how this team develops and continues to grow. We had some good moments last fall. Like every year, you graduate some outstanding players, outstanding seniors. Last year's no exception. But at the same time, we have good players coming back and some guys that we think are really good prospects as well. So kind of eager to get there. Like every year, you have areas of strength, returning areas where you're not experienced and you're trying to measure up your team a little bit, and that's certainly, as we get started next week, something we're really anxious to tune in on. I think if you just look at our team in a nutshell, our inexperience is really on the perimeter, both offensively and defensively, including the quarterback position. And then I think I'd be remiss if I didn't include our specialist. Our kicking competition is still in effect. We're not sure who our punter is right now, much like the quarterback. And we lost a tremendous returner in Desmond King, somebody that won't be easily replaced. So those are things that we're focused on. I think if you want to talk about strengths, the closer we are to the football, it's probably where we're a little bit more experienced. So again, it's all about how the team comes together. This is certainly the talk season right now and the training season, and you can only talk so much and you can only train so much, and then it's time to move into the next phase. So we're excited about that, and like I said, we'll begin. Typically, it's in August this year for the second time, at least in my career in college. Second time, it's going to start up in July. So we'll get started here on Sunday, and eager to get going. I'll throw it out for questions.
We'll begin here on the right.
Dennis Dodd, CBS Sports. Over here, Kirk.
Yep.
In the same year, you've seen Bob Stoops step down at a relatively young age. Obviously, the unfortunate passing of Bobby Elliott. What does it mean to you right now to be the nation's, senior coach right now?
Oh, yeah, I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about it. Bob's a really, I think he'd consider each other to be good friends. Bob was a player at Iowa when I got there in 1981. He was a junior and a captain on the 82 ball club, and then we worked together 4 or 5 years before he went to Kent State. So Bob's a tremendous guy, and just he's done an unbelievable job at Oklahoma. Great job as an assistant, and then when he had his opportunity at Oklahoma, just has been fantastic for that institution. Certainly good for college football, really good for college football. So we've, in my mind, lost one of the good coaches in this game, one of the best coaches that has ever coached. But I'm happy for him. He's totally at peace. We've talked. I saw him a week ago, and then Bob Elliott again. I think these are all reminders just how precious life is and how precious opportunity is. So, I feel very, very fortunate. This would be my, 28th year at Iowa, and feel fortunate that, in 1981, somehow, some way I ended up there as an assistant.
We'll go on the left, about towards the back.
Chad Leistico, Des Moines Register, over here.
Hey, Chad.
I know how much you love to talk about depth charts, one of your favorite topics. But today you listed 2 starting tight ends, multiple tight ends in your starting lineup in the depth chart you released. Why the change?
Well, accentuate the positive, I guess. That's an area that we think has a chance to be a strength on our football team. And I think it's well documented, at least in our state, that we're inexperienced at the receiver position. Certainly great to get Matt Vandenberg back. But I think it's fair to say that we'll play with multiple tight end sets frequently, at least until some of the other guys get caught up a little bit. So we were pleased with what we saw in the spring. Just wanted to recognize that. But to your first point, depth charts really are pretty meaningless almost everywhere this time of year. But a month from now, 6 weeks from now, they start to have a little bit more relevance.
Over on the right, in the third row.
Paul M. Banks, thesportsbank.net. One of the 3 players that you brought here, Sean Welsh, published that very heartfelt, very revealing, very emotional op-ed on the school website. What were some of your thoughts when you first heard that he was going to do that, and how do you feel about some of the reaction that you've received from the publication of it?
Yeah, Sean came to me probably a month ago, 5 weeks ago, somewhere in that ballpark, and said he had an interest in doing so, and talked to several people about it outside our program. just to get their vantage point on it. But it was with the attitude of hopefully that we could go ahead and move forward with it without any visible downside. And I think it just speaks volumes about Sean as an individual, what a courageous young man he is. To watch him wage this fight the last couple of years has been more than impressive. And, you know, we get to watch guys play football. It's a tough, competitive game. But, you know, to watch a guy, you know, deal with an issue like this the way he has, so important and so impressive. And then also, obviously, the support network that he had available to him. Everybody was just fantastic. So I really commend him for wanting to come forward, and it was all in the spirit of trying to help other people, whether it's college-age students, athletes. Certainly, you know, depression doesn't discriminate. Anybody's potentially vulnerable to it. So I think him coming forward and handling it the way he did is just so commendable, and hopefully it, you know, helps other people down the road.
On the left, all the way in the back corner now.
Jason Jorgensen, KRVN Radio. Coach, talk about your opener. That's got to be a tricky game with Wyoming.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out who scheduled that game, actually. You know, Wyoming was struggling a little bit years ago, and Coach Bull's done an unbelievable job, no big surprise, but just a tremendous job bringing that program back in a short time and building it step by step. And that's, anybody's familiar with the work that he did at North Dakota State, I think it would not come as a surprise. And but what is a surprise a little bit is that quarterback. He's, you know, just a fantastic football player. He's got a really interesting story, and but the bottom line is he played great last year. But it was more than just him. They have an excellent football team. They were division champs, and you know, we expect a real tough battle in our first contest. So it's we're going to need to be ready.
We have time for a few more questions.
Hey, Coach, Akram Wadley, a lot of hype about him. Do you see any kind of next level NFL potential in him? And what are your expectations for your big name tailback this season?
Yeah, there's some talk of that at the end of last year. I know he gave a little bit of thought to it. And I don't mean this in a disrespectful way. I thought that was a little bit premature. And, you know, we've been with Akram now for 4 years. I've coached in the National Football League. And I think we were aware of some of the things that we felt like he needed to do. And it's really been fun. Akram is a very talented young guy, a little bit like Matt Vandenberg. Both of them were undersized when they showed up at our place 4+ years ago. But they both have worked extremely hard. And in my mind, the turning point for Akram was the 2015 season. We were playing up here on the road without LaShawn Daniels, who was out with an injury. Then Jordan Canzeri went down early in the game. And that was the day that Akram really took a major step forward, I think, in his performance. He just understood we needed him. We were counting on him. He delivered beautifully, and since that time, he's just grown with each and every week. So he's a very talented guy. He's a more mature, physically mature player than he was a year ago at this time, which I think will let him play at a higher level in our conference. And, you know, like all of our players, you hope they all grow and improve, and he's certainly done that. So, you know, we think he's poised to have a tremendous year. He's got a great attitude, loves football. He's good with his teammates, and I'm thrilled he's on our football team. So, you know, we're all keeping our fingers crossed. For us to have a successful season, we certainly need our best guys to play their best, and he's certainly one of our best players.
Straight in front of you, behind the camera.
Okay. Yep.
Kirk, Scott Docterman, Land of 10. Drake Kulik suffered a really ugly injury to his leg last year in the season finale. How has he progressed, and will he be ready for August camp?
Yeah, we expect him to be full speed on Sunday, and he's worked extremely hard. You know, I think that's a topic that gets talked about, but I think people really don't appreciate just how difficult it is to come back from an injury, and his was no fun, certainly, when he experienced it. But I think, as you well know, he's got a tremendous attitude. He's been a strong team leader on our football team. He's put that attitude to work. He's fought through the ups and downs of recovery, through rehab, and has had a good summer. So I'm not going to tell you he's going to be pain-free all season long, but he's been cleared, and he's very determined to have a great senior year.